So my next guest on this week's show is David Ireland, the writer and creator of Coldwater. Welcome to TellyCast.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about Coldwater then. Just give us a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the drama series and how you came to write it.
Well, it's a thriller about a man who moves his family from London to the Highlands of Scotland after a violent encounter in a play park in London. But he finds that he's trying to escape the violence and urban decay of London, but he finds that Coldwater, the tiny town that he moves to, is much more violent and mysterious than London.
Not quite the respite he was looking for, not the country living. Okay. So what was the inspiration then behind it? Because I know you're a playwright, essentially, and this is, I know, your second project for TV. Tell us about your inspiration for Coldwater. Where did that come from?
Well, it really came from, I wrote most of the first episode I wrote in 2020. And it was during the lockdown, and I would write it. I would be looking after the kids all day, and then I'd go up into my office late at night to write it. And I was having trouble sleeping, like the character in the show is. I think there was several things at play. I was running a lot, running obsessively, as the character does. And I was reading the Bible a lot and praying a lot. And I was reading true crime books a lot. And me and my wife were thinking about, should we move to the countryside? We were talking about moving to the countryside. So all those elements, which were things in my life, were things that found their way into the episode.
That's a heady mix.
Yeah, and they're all there. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a combination. I love things like, I love any kind of drama or thriller where a character moves from the city to the countryside. You know, the sort of fish out of water, violent sort of things like Straw Dogs and Eden Lake. Anything where a city person finds trouble in the woods is something I love.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very, that metropolitan mindset and then the small village mindset is very, very different, right?
Yeah.
And I think everybody who lives in a city has maybe got that grass is greener thought of, look at that beautiful little idyllic village, wouldn't it be fantastic if we lived there? But
it kind of comes from a love of and a fear of the countryside with me,
Right.
So it's all there. The love and the fear is all there.
Yeah. So how did it develop then from those initial concepts that you had during lockdown? How did it develop into this full-scale thriller project?
Yeah, well, I pitched the idea to Sister, the producers, and they loved it. And so they commissioned the first episode, and then it just kind of grew from there. And it also became more about, I think a lot of it is about a marriage. It's about two marriages, really. It's about a marriage between two very good people whose marriage is falling apart, and then two not very good people, two quite evil people who have a beautiful marriage and really love each other. And that was interesting. That wasn't something that I was thinking about when I was writing the first episode, but that was something that came out more and more in subsequent episodes, that it was really about, it was a portrait of two marriages,
When you're writing a project, how much of that, develops as you're writing it? Because I think it's a fascinating subject to think that you're setting out and writing and just these different twists and turns occur to you, and almost the idea sort of takes over your fingers if you're typing away. Is that how it?
I think if you're doing it right, you kind of start off. For me, anyway, you start off with an idea of where it's going to go, but then the characters take on a life of their own, and they start telling you where to go.
Really?
And sometimes when the actors become involved as well, they have ideas for the characters and so on, and where she could go. Like Andrew Lincoln was very involved in the development of the story, and the development of his character. Yeah. And then also Indira Varma and Eve Miles and so on, and Ewen Bremner. They had thoughts about their character, and they did their own research, and they brought their own things to it too.
Well, taking a twist and a turn, which the series does, Ewen Bremner's character is, he's an amazing character in it. Obviously, all of the principal actors are, but Ewan, certainly in the clip that I've seen, is fantastic. I mean, what was it like to work with Ewan on the project?
Well, it was amazing. Like, both Ewan and Andrew were people that I'd grown up watching. Like, we're around the same age, but when I was a young actor, like Ewen Bremner and Andrew were two actors I really wanted to be. Like, anybody of my age can remember Trainspotting. One of the great performances, And so it was it was very intimidating to meet him, but he was really down to earth and really nice.
Yeah.
And he really kind of brings, Tommy's a very dangerous guy, possibly a psychopath. And he really brings a sort of depth and subtlety to that, like he doesn't play him like a comic book villain, but he finds all the humour, like he finds all the comedy, but he plays it very real and very subtle. And it's beautiful.
Slightly unhinged and menacing, but also kind of quite relatable in a way.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, John, who Andrew Lincoln plays, really wants to be his friend. He's very charming, and he manages that very well.
And that's, again, coming back to the moving to the country thing, you're already automatically looking for friends, aren't you? You're trying to build a network around you.
Yeah.
I wish you all the very best with Coldwater. It's a fantastic drama series, and I'm sure it's going to have a lot of success with it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So we chatted earlier on today with Andrew Lincoln, who's executive producer and the star of Coldwater. Here's what he had to say about the show. How are you doing, Andrew? Great to see you.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me, Justin. I'm well.
And, well, tell us about Coldwater, which is your return to British drama, essentially, and we're very excited about that. But tell us about Coldwater and what it was that attracted you to this project.
Well, it was, the script came to me. Well, funny, I should rewind a bit, because I came back from America about 5 years ago and was looking to sort of produce and sort of look for, projects that I might sort of step back and sort of help produce, basically, and or direct even. And a dear friend of mine, Liz Lewin, who I'd worked with on Teachers and This Life many moons ago, I sort of always pinged out a message to her, and I said, who should I be reading? Who's interesting? Are there any scripts out there? Any young voices or new voices that I hadn't heard of? And she sent me this script called The Lovers by David Ireland, and I loved it. And she was working at Sky at the time, Sky Comedy, and it was a sort of referendum on England and Northern Ireland, and it was a love story, but it was really funny. And I went, this guy is serious. And that's when I started investigating him a bit further. And then fast forward 4 years, Jane Featherstone and Chris and Alice and Lydia at Sister Productions sent me this script, and I saw David Ireland on the front, and so I opened the script, and I hadn't read anything quite like it, and it made me nervous and sort of frightened me, because it was quite an exposing part, because something terrible happens. You have an inciting incident at the beginning, and he does something which is the opposite of how you would wish to behave. And I thought this would be possibly the best choice next, to do something completely different.
It's like a juxtaposition to what you've done for the last decade.
Yeah, it was also about a marriage. It's about lots of things that I'm interested in, and the writing was so good. It made me laugh in all the wrong places. It was awkward and strange, and it also just had this real. I felt quite moved, but at the same time quite freaked out by how unpredictable the story was. It just kept moving in different directions, and it surprised me. And I think it's been a while since you read a lot of scripts, and there's a lot of formulas out there for how to write a script. And this seemed like he was writing about lots of things, and he was just throwing it out there. And I thought it would be difficult, but also quite exciting.
Yeah.